Hi, it's Jared from Strong Roots Farm. Today we're going to learn about a mistake I made and a lesson learned. It's very important if you're starting a new farm. Starting a new farm and we're doing vegetables. The big thing about vegetables versus big commercial crops is that it's not a whole field of monocropping. In this market gardening, there's so many different varieties, so many different choices that you can make of what to plant, what will sell. And I'm doing time studies, which will tell me how to plan my next year out. So I'll make sure that I can know how much harvest per each row, my spacings, I'm doing everything, and trying to record everything. I started writing stuff down, taking notes, but I didn't do a very good job at it. So if you're going to do time studies, if you're going to try to figure out exactly what you need to do, how to plan it so that each week you have stuff ready for your customers, it's really important with the CSA because they're dependent on their box to be full and they don't want to have the same thing all the time. Can't just fill the box with lettuce. So with the CSA, they want this variety. Planting all these different crops, I'm not recording them well, so there's my mistake. I'm going to show you what I'm doing to try to recover from this. Alright, so I've made this little spreadsheet here on my computer. I won't show it to you very long, but it has some big information and I want to go over that. Okay, so the main thing, the first column here is the crop. And you can't just put corn or beans, okay? So you got to do the variety. The first year I'm trying 4 or 5 different varieties of things. I want to see what works well, what people like, what they don't like about them. So in the first column, it's very important that you put the variety and maybe even the lot number of the seed that you bought from or where you bought it from. If it's great, you want to continue doing that. If you want to try something new next year, or you know which ones to stay away from. So that's really important. Second is I put the location. So I know I got rows out there with stuff in it, and I know this row is lettuce and this row is this, but I don't know exactly which variety is in each row because I didn't write anything down. So that's really important. Next, I put average date to maturity. So each crop in every variety has a different day. Now, lettuce is going to be 50 to 60 days for big heads and cabbages and things, but some lettuce can be as low as 30 days. So it depends how you're doing it. The next column I did the date that I seeded it. The next column is did I transplant it or direct seed it? And so what I did in this column is I put, excuse me, the transplant date if I transplanted it. If I seeded it by hand, like my corn, I seeded that by hand. I just wrote hand. And if it's direct seeded, I wrote the roller number for my seeder so I can know what roller number I use next year, try to do that quickly. Then I do the estimated due date so I can try to make out a plan. Hey, this week coming up in July, I'm going to have this stuff coming in. Need to make sure I have availability to harvest it. And that way, if I have too many coming up in that week, I know, hey, I need to either have somebody come in and help me, or maybe I shouldn't plant that today. Maybe I should wait another week so there's not so much coming in 1 week. So then, what columns that I don't have full yet? So the harvest, that's the harvest date. I'm going to do the yield that I got off of a 50-foot row so I can measure it next year. Then I'm going to do how much I sold. So in this, the yield I'm going to use in units. So I'm going to do a different pricing. You're going to have to just figure out how you're going to manage your yield. Counting cherry tomatoes is not a good option. So I would do, 4 packs or whatever you're going to do. But figure it out either per row or per plant, however you want to do it, just so you know, hey, I need to plant this many and 1 extra for the farmer's market or whatever you're going to do. Then I did sold, how much I sold it for. As I go along, I'm recording my cost for this crop, for this individual row, and then the formula's already in there. It'll produce a profit for that row. My goal here, in order to hit the 100,000 mark clearing on 1 acre, I have to clear $434 per row. Okay, so it's a 30-inch row that's 50 foot long. I can do that if I get 4 turns. I'm not going to hit that this year. Obviously, we got started in the middle of the year, but I want to make sure that the profitability is there, that it can happen. The last one is the labor, so I'm just writing in a labor hour number. So if I can clear $100,000 an acre, but it's going to take me 8,000 hours. I have to calculate in more employees. So that'll take off of that cost. So it's really important that you record how long. So I know it took me an hour to seed my corn by hand because I put so many ears or so many stalks in one row. And I did it all by hand. It was the first thing I did. I wanted that out first. So this is something I would recommend. Make your own spreadsheet, look up some market farmers, but this is definitely going to help me for planning for the next year. That's where it's real important. If you sit down at the end of the year, you're trying to plan out your next year, you didn't take any notes, it's going to be hard for you. So knowing your varieties, knowing your times, is it profitable, and can you do it labor-wise? Hope this video helps you. It's a quick video, and I hope it just sets you up for a success if you're going to do some gardening, if you're going to do some market gardening especially. Like and share our videos with your friends. Subscribe to us on YouTube, and subscribe to us on Instagram. Thanks a lot.